And this is the Bugatti Type 35A that won the 1954 New Zealand Championships in Dunedin, and boy was it quick then, 155 mile an hour. And this is Clark Proctor. Raced all sorts of cars and categories over his years in motorsport in New Zealand. He's raced Speedway, he's raced Targa, he's raced the New Zealand V8s, and this is the car that he uses in the Dunlop Targa. He knows he's the man to beat, setting the fastest time through the morning run, and now in the sunshine, he's out there in the 73 Ford Escort. A lot of legends of motorsport here at at Rod Millen's Leadfoot Festival this weekend.
You know, in the early days there was those special rivalries with competitors, and you know they're here as friends competing in that on the driveway. But they're not just here racing against me, but they're here working 2 or 3 days a week, helping me get the whole property in shape to put on this event. So lots of work in terms of moving earth and sowing grass seed and watering the ground and getting it looking like it looks right now.
You know, the course kind of developed slowly. It was all gravel, and then it kind of rapidly came to the point where he knew that some of these cars and the drivers respect the cars so much they don't want to put them on gravel. So then the decision was made to pave the road.
Well, that's one thing we might have against Rod. He's made it a bit steep for 1100cc engines, but you got to let him win, don't you?
The venue is absolutely fabulous, and some really tight corners up the hill, but it's quite suitable for bikes.
It's basically his road, right? So it's an epic road. It's unbelievable. You're going so fast through the trees, and just the way it's designed, it's really set up like by one of the best racers of all time.
The trickiest part of the course here, I believe, is up top in the woods. You don't know where you are, and you've got to find yourself, and it's easy to run off the road up there, and it's not really forgiving to run off the road here. You can end up in some trees. You can commit yourself into the hairpins pretty easily because you can see where you're going. But up top, it's a gear higher, and it's blind. I'm being very conservative here. It's not my car, and the gentleman that bought it, Max Irwin, has just had it for about 3 weeks. I think it'd be poor manners to go out and wreck it the first time he had it on the racetrack.
It's all pretty tricky, but I find when you get up through the top of the trees up there and you're starting to drift sideways and there's trees on each side, I tell you what, that gets a little bit scary.
I'm taking easy on the drive, and definitely in the morning it was quite wet. So during the afternoon it started to get much drier. For some cars, the dry, it worked much better, especially with slick tires. So you can see people with much more confidence during the dry time. Other people playing a lot during the wet time.
There were probably more crashes at Leadfoot this year than expected by my father, by myself. Those are the guys that were pushing a little too hard, taking risks, and maybe they hadn't figured out the road, but they knew their car. You need to know both to go fast. But I think that's the challenge of the road. You need to adapt.
I quite like all the bend. And there's quite a nice straightaway when you get up on the top of the hill. Of course, the approach up here is quite undulating and winding. It's a fabulous track for these
car enthusiasts and bike enthusiasts.
You really have to get the thing back over quickly. You know, the turns come up relatively fast. You've got the trees and the curbing, and just front wheels coming off with the power of the Ducati. And I just get the thing sat down, and then you're in the corner, and then you're on the brakes, and the rear wheels coming up. So.
All right, Rhys Millen, the first of the Millens to hit the driveway today, is about to light up Ha-Hay. It's a real handful. There's a lot of power in this car. That's actually, that truck there is the truck that he did the backflip in. And of course, the wager is on this weekend for him to beat his father.
The road is short, but it's super, super challenging. So regardless, this is going to be a fun run. Click it into first, flagman gives me the thumbs up, and we're off. Bring the RPM up, bang, first gear. Yeah, I haven't driven this truck for 4 years, so it was a little sluggish off the line, but we're off. Second crest, already catching a little air off there. Hard into braking over this first little bridge, and now painting a picture of the rest of the course. Accelerate first, second gear, 9,800 RPM this engine revs to. Not really set up to do this course, but we're having fun anyway. Oh, a little too much rear braking, flick through this combination left, right, and then up to the W's, which is kind of named after the W's that are at Pikes Peak, this combination zigzag left, right, left, right. You know, I haven't driven this truck for 4 years since we did the backflip in Las Vegas. It scared the living beep out of me every time I went off that ramp.
World Drift Champion, does a lot of stunt driving. Dukes of Hazzard, he did all the driving in the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Exiting the W's here, carry the speed up into this hairpin right. Flick it in early. Nice amount of sideways angle there. Clean exit. Keep it in first, clean and tidy. Oh, little deep into there, just about spun. Dip the clutch, keep it under control. Blind crest right into the forest here, dip left, and then now I've got to be clean and tidy exiting here to get a good time. Out of the forest is a straightaway after it that you really want to build your speed. Stay committed on the throttle. Oh, I lifted a little bit, now put it down, fire it over the finish line. That wasn't a bad run.
For me, growing up in New Zealand, I used to read about Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak was the ultimate hill climb, and you know, my career started in simple hill climbs in New Zealand that were about very similar to this, but perhaps on a gravel road. During the 80s, as I was rallying in the US, we would attend Pikes Peak and do that event, and it truly was, you know, the ultimate hill climb in the world.
This is the Pikes Peak Toyota Celica, raced in the unlimited class. Took Rod to 2 victories, set fastest time, and it was a brilliant record that stood for 13 years in this particular car.
The Pikes Peak Toyota Celica, you know, by far a special car. It's a special car to my father for what he was able to achieve in it in 1994 up Pikes Peak. It's a special car in design.
We built this Toyota Celica to go after that record, and we lowered that record there by 39 seconds, and that record stood for 13 years.
I think Rod Millen's about to head out onto the track any second now. The Celica with the one-piece carbon composite body shell. It really is something quite special. 2.1 litre turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, a really quick car. Here we go, ha-hey. This is Rod coming home for work for the day. Just drives it as though it's on rails out there. He knows every turn so well.
The engine is incredible. It's a 2.1 litre 4-cylinder engine. I think it makes 48 pounds of boost and produces 1,000 horsepower and 550 foot-pounds of torque.
Away we go up the hill.
It's still fun for me to drive, and you know, as soon as I leave the start line and jump on the gas, all those memories come back of how fun and interesting and exciting it is to drive. And now this car's nearly 18 years old, it still wins.
Sky's the limit for here, for the future. I've got a car that I'm pretty sure can go faster than 51 seconds. So if I get an invite next year, it'll be exciting to see what I'm driving.
You know, there's guys that are here that are racing. I don't know what the oldest guy is, probably in his 80s, I'm sure. But they're still hanging it out, you know? I mean, it's pretty awesome to be able to come here and drive one of the first Formula One cars and to go out there and push it hard and slide it through the corners. And that's really what life's about, right? It's about getting after it and having a great time and having fun with your friends.
So once again, are you having a good time?
The good thing about these kind of festivals is the idea of mixing racing cars and meeting great people. To be part of the atmosphere at the same time driving racing cars, so it's a perfect combination.
With the enthusiasm and all the encouragement from other competitors and people, spectators, and everybody that have showed up at this event, I feel sure we're going to have people calling us and said, you know, please consider us for an invitation next year. In fact, I've already had that, you know, this weekend.
To come here and go fast in somebody's fabulous driveway with really excellent pavement and people who appreciate it, I think it just makes for a great weekend.
If I'm invited, I'll be here. As long as he keeps me off that right-on mower he gave me for 2 days.